Hello and welcome to Mindful Living, where we explore the art of living with the intention, balance, and inner peace. I am Avik, your host, guiding you through conversations on health, meditation, mental well being, mindfulness, and the mind body connection. Each episode features expert insights to help you grow, heal, and thrive. So, take a deep breath, relax, and join us on this journey to a more mindful and fulfilling life. So, let's get started.
Hello and welcome, listeners, to another episode of the Mindful Living podcast, where we explore the intersection of mindfulness, spirituality, and personal growth. I'm your host, Sana, and today we have an incredible guest joining with us, Valdas Pranskevicius. Valdas is a spiritual teacher, mind reader, and relationship coach with over 30 years of experience in personal transformation. With a deep understanding of energy meditation and emotional healing, Valdas has helped countless individuals unlock their highest potential and also align with their true selves. And today on the Mindful Living, we are diving a topic that affects us all: personal mind hygiene. Just like physical hygiene, maintaining a clean and healthy mindset is essential for living a balanced and fulfilling life. Valdos will share his wisdom on how we can practice mind hygiene to eliminate negative thoughts, thought patterns, and overcome emotional blockages and achieve mental clarity. So, let's get started. Valdos, welcome to the show, and it's an absolute honor having you with us today.
Hey, Sana, thank you for this introduction. It was good to hear that. And wonderful to be here today and share the truth and share this wisdom with the listeners, with the listeners of your podcast. And I'm absolutely ready to talk. I'm absolutely ready to share anything I can to explain, to share. Just let's begin, probably. Thank you.
Great, Valdos. Thank you for those kind words. Okay, before we proceed to the topic, would you like to share what motivated or attracted you to this entire focus area?
Okay, so probably as for everyone, probably as for everyone, we experience certain problems in our childhood and or adulthood, and same with me. Same with me. I had a health problem. I had a health issues. My skin was not very clear, and doctors were trying to heal, with the pills, giving
Mhm.
all kind of medication, and then I felt that this path is not going to serve me, not going to help me. And then I decided to search for the natural ways to heal myself. And I began the journey. I began searching, listening, and looking for alternative ways to heal myself. And that's how I stumbled on the teacher, spiritual teacher, who began
Mhm.
teaching me all about energy, all about self-healing, all about meditation, and Tai Chi and Qigong. And all of that happened in 1990s, so about 30 years ago right
Mhm.
now.
Wow.
And my journey never stopped from there. And because, like my teacher told,
Mhm.
when you touch that light within you, when you discover light within you, when you begin meditating and begin searching for yourself, for your true self, and when you touch that light within you, your path never stops. You're constantly being pulled to find deeper truth and go higher and deeper and higher and deeper. And that happened to me too.
Great. That's a very inspiring journey, Valdos. Very inspiring. Can you explain for our listeners what personal mind hygiene means and why it is important for our well being?
Okay, the personal mind hygiene. I use this term sometimes to describe the work with yourself. Basically, everything begins with you. If I would be speaking to the listeners, I would say everything begins with you. Very often we begin searching outside of ourselves, confirmation or approval of our life, or we search for better living. We look at the law of attraction, how to attract better lives. But rarely we look inside to see what we actually vibrating. Okay, so this mind hygiene, what I call, is certain practice that helps you to calm your mind, so you would feel peaceful, so you would feel relaxed, and you would begin paying attention what is actually happening inside you, rather than looking what is going on outside. And when you dive inside of you, then you begin discovering little pearls. You begin feeling the energy. You begin calming down your mind. You begin not thinking, rather than thinking all abrupt thoughts created by worries, created by problems, and seeing of what is happening outside. So you begin from your mind, you clear your mind, you make sure your mind is empty, and the spiritual self and the spiritual mind begins entering your mind, and then you begin seeing life in a different way. So basically, this mind hygiene is all about checking in with your vibration, checking in to see what you actually vibrate, what you actually distribute to the universe, to others, because that's what you vibrate. That's what you get back, not what you dream about, not what you aspire to achieve, not what your goals are, not what other people think about you. It's all inside you. And whatever you vibrate every moment, that's what you approximately get. So mind hygiene is really looking after your energy, looking after your mind, looking after your state of being.
Interesting. That's interesting. Thank you so much for explaining this. Uh, and you have, as it seems, you have extensive experience in energy manipulation and meditation as well. How do these practices contribute to keeping our minds clean and free from negativity?
Interesting, Sana. You mentioned the word negativity. I will begin from the other end, yeah? The negativity, again, it's our interpretation, okay? So speaking about meditation and energy practices, what you do is you focus in yourself. You focus within yourself. And when you calm, when you are peaceful, when you are calm, when you relaxed, when your mind is relaxed, not just body relaxed. And what I mean by relaxed, not like you relaxed, but you relax to the point where you stop reacting to the outside triggers, okay? When you stop reacting to the outside triggers, then you begin seeing things. Then you begin seeing the reality for real. And you do not divide anymore into negative patterns or positive patterns or good or bad or this or that. You simply see everything as in light of reason, action, and consequence law. So basically, you realize that whatever is happening in front of your eyes is caused by certain reasons, by certain actions before this moment. And you also realize that whatever is happening in front of your eyes and also within your energy will cause very similar effects in the future. So basically, when you meditate or when you connect to source, to creator, when you take care of your energy and you always check in to be calm, peaceful, relaxed, then you begin noticing how your awakened mind, how your spiritual self begins awakening. And then you see everything as a pattern. You stop judging for good and bad, right or wrong, or black and white. You simply see what's happening in front of your eyes in the energy forms. Even when you communicate with other people, then you listen to the words, but you listen to the energy behind of the person. And then you read that energy to confirm those words person speaks. Okay? So That's how meditation or this practice, whichever practice you use, it's not necessarily just meditation. It can be prayer, it can be worshiping of Creator, it can
Oh,
be it can be qigong, it can be tai chi, it can be dynamic meditation, it can be any kind of practice that calms your mind and keeps it relaxed and keeps it slow and peaceful and flowing. And that's when you begin really observing the world, and the world begins talking back to you because
yeah.
suddenly your mind is empty, and you can feel and sense every little being, every living being, every seemingly not living being, like trees
Yeah,
and nature, and you begin communicating with everything around you.
that's very true. Very true, Valdas. Thank you for that beautiful explanation. So many people they struggle with lingering emotional traumas that cloud their minds. So, what are some practical steps for addressing these deep-rooted issues and healing them?
Mhm. Well, that's a very good question. That's a very good question. And I think it's
Mm-hmm.
very much to the point because that's exactly what shades people from good life.
Mm-hmm.
You see, we are beings that have fight and flight instinct. We have survival mind, and we also have human mind, which is spiritual mind. So we are these triple beings. But the problem is that we cannot be in one of them, in all of them at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
We have a choice either to be in our spiritual mind or in fight and flight mind or in our survival mind. So what happens to so many people? Say, for example, let's take animals. Say
Mm-hmm.
animal is grazing grass somewhere in the beautiful field, and he feels the threat. Suddenly, the survival mechanisms turns in, and fight and flight instincts turns in,
Yes.
and animal starts running. And
Yeah.
when they run away, when they feel safe, they relax, they calm, and they keep grazing further. But the human being, when all these mechanisms turns on, they
Mm-hmm.
experience shock, they experience some traumatic event that seems sometimes even traumatic to the human being. And then this traumatic experience keeps running in their mind and keeps triggering survival mechanisms and fight and flight mechanisms for sometimes for many, many years,
Mm-hmm.
even decades. And what happens? The hormone system, the endocrine system in the body like the imbalance is created in those systems,
Mm-hmm.
and hormones begin creating chaos in the body, and brain cannot cope with it. Imagine a person constantly living in survival or in fight and flight. So the panic attack starts, and the stress and the depressions and nerves, everything is on the edge. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So how to look into those things, how to heal those things, if you are still capable of going there yourself into those older events, or if not, then of course choosing a therapist who would guide you through healing process.
Yeah.
But the healing process is simple. It's just simply to go back and see from different angle, see those events from different angle, and see what kind of benefits you could get from those events that has happened very long time ago, and
Mm-hmm.
then see who you have become as a result of those events. Say, for example, it can be some unfavorable events, conflicts in the family. Who you have become as a result. What have you learned as a result from these events? And also just look, how did you interpret those events at that time so it caused you so much stress? Maybe with the mind you have right now, you can go and look at it completely different. Not like you've been abandoned or you've been abused, but look at those people. Look what they felt. Look at the situations where the situation where you were present in that time. Look at everything from different angle. That's what I actually do with my clients who come to my practice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My coaching clients. We look at those events and we look at from zoom in and zoom out, and we actually see completely different patterns. And that's how a person begins healing, because this event is no longer charged in their mind. and mind does not react anymore in survival or fight and flight instincts.
That is true. That is true. Lovely. That was lovely, Valdas. So, in your journey as a spiritual teacher, how have you seen the power of mindset affect not just individual success, but also relationships and personal fulfillment?
You see, this is a very, very wide subject. This is a very, very
Oh, yeah.
wide topic in
Yeah.
question, but let me try and put it together. I
Mm-hmm.
would say, by being spiritual, if I understand your question right, by being
Mm-hmm.
spiritual or opening up your spirituality,
Mm-hmm.
right? And this is nothing special. Every human being has a potential to open up that spirituality. But how this affects your career, how this affects your life, was that the question?
Yes.
Okay. So imagine having clarity. Imagine not stressing, not worrying,
Mm-hmm.
not seeking approval from the outside. Imagine not having the harmful emotions or mind filters. I call them mind filters,
Yeah.
where you have a sarcasm, you have some kind of rage, maybe, or revenge, the way people act sometimes
Mm-hmm.
from these kind of energies, from emotions, some hatred, envy, and competition, all kind of emotions emerge in human minds, and all these emotions basically shades and fogs human mind, and there is no clarity in it. So imagine when all these filters are lifted, when you feel compassion, when you feel empathy, when you feel love, when you are relaxed, when you go to serve people instead of doing something else, when you know the reasons
Mm-hmm.
why you're doing things, when you have your intentions, when you have complete clarity, how different your life becomes, your professional life, your family life, your personal life. Okay? You do not react. You see things for what they are.
Yeah.
Means you do not create conflicts. You do not get into the conflicts. You do not compete hard. You do not form strong opinions. Means you can see people for what they are every day, because we are all different.
Yes.
Sometimes we have some problems and we become angry or become irritated or frustrated. But
Yeah.
next day, when everything is fine, we become different. But imagine if someone forms opinion about you, and suddenly they begins demanding from you or wanting so you would be according to their opinion. Yeah. So imagine being this kind of a person, how much easier it is to live, how much easier it is to solve your problems and look at all kind of issues, and how much more peaceful you are, how much more capable of learning you are, because you suddenly become empty and you begin absorbing all the information like a child does, because you are completely open to all possibilities. You are completely open to new information. How much more capable of life you become when you take away unnecessary worries, unnecessary animalistic, I would say, features of fear from your life. Okay, this is the thought. This is the food for thought. How much more peaceful you become when you don't need to hide, fight, flight, survive, or fear.
True.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That was great, Valdas. So for someone who feels overwhelmed by their thoughts or emotions, what is one simple daily practice you suggest they can start to help start clearing their mind?
Right. This is very simple. Okay? It's not complicated. You don't need to run marathons. You don't need to do some kind of vipassanas or
Mm-hmm.
go keep quiet for 40 days. or do something else that actually requires a lot of effort, a lot of inner strength. Okay? I don't need those things. Everything in this creation is very simple. And what the key word here is consistency.
Mm.
Take small technique. Take small technique, something like not thinking technique or the practice of silence, for example, where you just sit down and for 5 minutes you empty your mind and you do not think. You do not allow a single thought to fall into your mind and expand. You do
Mm.
not allow the thoughts. And you just simply sit down for 5 minutes, for 7 minutes, and don't think. But this is not enough, really. That's the technique, and this is the practice of your personal mind hygiene. But I
Mm.
always suggest that, regardless of your beliefs, regardless of your religion,
Mhm.
you can always approach the source. You can always approach creator. And I suggest always to approach the personal aspect and have some kind of spiritual practice, really, connecting to source. Because when you
Mhm.
connect to higher mind, to higher power, creator, you become like creator. You see,
Mm.
the same rule applies. Who you go with, who you communicate with, who you
Yes.
friends with, or show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are.
Yes.
So
Yes.
when you friend creator, when you friend, I don't call him God, I call him creator, the
Uh-huh.
father or the mother. When you friend creator and friend the source, then
Uh-huh.
you slowly begin becoming like creator in your character. Okay,
True. That is
but
very.
being with creator, inviting creator into your life and sitting down to actually communicate with creator empties your mind immensely and calms you down and always reminds you to be humble, to be simple, to not show up or to kind of take yourself very seriously. Okay,
Mm.
but it keeps you humble, keeps you compassionate, keeps you loving. And these not emotions, I will not call them emotions. They are eternal values, eternal things.
Mm.
These eternal features of your being allows you to go deeper into yourself and
Mm.
out of the mind, out of the thinking, chaotic mind. Because mind is an instrument. Mind is a receiver of thoughts and sender of thoughts and receiver of thoughts.
Yeah.
So again, everything is very simple. Take a small practice, say, for example, to worship Creator, or to talk to Creator, or to pray for someone else, and then communicate with Creator a little bit, and stay calm and peaceful for 5, 7 minutes. Do it every day, twice a day. If you
Mm-hmm.
miss a day, it's not a big deal, but do it consistently. And then what happens one day when you will do this practice, you will notice that you don't want to come out of this practice. You want to be
Mm.
in this state of mind all the time. And then one day you will notice that you are all the time in this meditation. You all the time connected. You're
Mm.
all the time in this peaceful and wonderful, calm mind where you do not react, you do not seek for approval. You're not too emotional, but rather you come out of that spiritual core of yours where you are compassionate, loving, understanding, supporting. At the same time, you feel power within you.
Mm-hmm.
And all your life becomes a practice, a meditation, a prayer, a worship and connection to source. And you become like a creator
Mm.
in your character. So this probably would be a little short answer on this subject.
I know, I know. This is a very, very wide. You know, it can have another discussion of its own. But thank you so much for putting up, such a profound answer to this question, Valdez. Um, so you mentioned the importance of reprogramming the mind to break old patterns. How does it work? And what approach do you follow in this particular context?
There are two ways, as all the yogis say, and all the sages, and all the spiritual teachers of all the days and these days. Everybody says, that there are two things. There are two ways. One is doing everything yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and the second one is to applying to higher power, to Creator, to invite Creator to transform you. Okay, there are two ways, but I also say that both ways has to be used, not just to do one thing, but to use both ways, meaning that you have to open up the source to Creator and invite Creator to transform you, to create this transformation within you. That's, by the way, Sri Aurobindo and Mother's integral yoga, if you ever heard about them.
Mm-hmm.
I was practicing this yoga for more than 15 years, probably more, around 20 years, probably. So this is the approach when you calm yourself, invite Creator to transform your mind, and you just simply allow this beautiful energy to descend within you and open you up and clean you up, calm you down, and transform. And then you begin feeling that suddenly you see life through certain principles, like do not compare anything, don't have any expectations, be unique. What else? I cannot take now straight of my mind. Do not react. Like certain things happen when in your calmness, in your peace of mind, certain things begins happening. But on the other hand, it's also those laws of the spiritual realm. I call this laws of spiritual realm, even though this is a reality. Spiritual is the reality, and this animalistic human, how would I call this, survival mechanisms, animal lower ego or lower ego mind, the way it's actually an illusion. So I would take those things like an illusion and reality. So lower ego mind is illusion, but higher spiritual mind is reality. So this reality has certain laws. And when you look into these laws and you decide to act that way, you also can enter that spiritual reality. But I suggest to do both. Walk towards Creator yourself, walk towards opening up yourself, do all your effort, and also invite Creator to transform you. So this is like effort from both sides. And this is very, very effective. That's the way I walked, by the way. I've done everything myself. A lot of things I've done myself. Of course, also inviting the higher power. But then certain things happen in my practice where I discovered Creator himself and living within me. And then life changed completely again. So yeah, if to say it in a couple of words, do everything yourself, make an effort to open up, calm down. So the person can use this simple silent mind practice, as I mentioned earlier. And at the same time, open up to source, open up to Creator, and invite Creator into your life in all kinds of ways, forms, and this should take you to that being, to that wonderful state of mind.
Lovely. That's lovely, Valdas. Great. So, if our listeners they want to embark on this journey of mental, emotional, and spiritual transformation, and also connect with you, explore your wisdom, connect with you. So, how they can do that?
Right. I have a sessions. I work with people individually, of course. I take them for 12 or 14 weeks on the 14-week journey where I'm available to that person and we work together. We have a sessions where I deeply explain and deeply dive deep into one certain subject, and we explore it completely. And these subjects like understanding who you are, healing your life, removing those limitations, limiting beliefs, learning how to manipulate energy and what energy altogether is, and then diving deep into those spiritual laws of reality, and completely taking and auditing every single area of human life,
Mm-hmm.
and restructuring it in the light of this spiritual reality. And this is really deep individual work, and I can see how people change just in my eyes, because you basically give them the essence I give them the essence of my 30 years path,
Wow.
spiritual path. And where I was, falling down and standing up and walking again and not understanding, when there was no one for me to explain to me what's going on.
Mm.
I had to experience it all myself. So now all this essence I give to a human being so they can transform their life in 3 months, 5 months, 6 months. Okay. And then I do also a group sessions, implementation session where people practice and
Mhm.
they struggle with something, and we have a session a week where we can sit down and we can go through all those things. I explain to them, or I coach them so they would discover things themselves.
Mhm.
That's how I work. And of course, on the Facebook, I share a lot of posts. I share a lot of information about how people can do it themselves. And also email subscription and my website, valdas.ee, valdas.aa, or .ee. I live in Estonia at the moment. And
Great. Great.
my website ending is AAEE. Yeah.
Lovely. Lovely. We'll have the details mentioned in the show notes for all of our listeners. And Valdas, thank you so much for sharing your journey and your profound insights on personal mind hygiene. And it's absolutely clear that taking care of our mental and emotional health is just as important as physical health. And to be frank, your practical wisdom on energy work, meditation, and the whole idea of mindset transformation is truly, truly inspiring for all of us. And I'm very confident our listeners will be eager to, take these insights to heart and start incorporating them into their daily lives. So, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence.
Thank you, Sana. Thank you for inviting me. And really very happy to share, and really happy to see more happy people, joyful people, calm, peaceful, relaxed, and smiling people. Yeah.
Lovely, lovely. So, listeners, for all of you, um, you can refer the show notes along with this episode on your favorite podcast platform. If you want to connect with Valdas or explore his profound wisdom, we just discussed in the conversation today, whether it's healing past traumas or simply learning to clear your mind, small steps like this can lead to big changes. So, thank you to everyone for tuning in to this episode of the Mindful Living podcast. Remember to take care of your mind, body, and soul. Until next time, stay mindful and keep living with intention. This is your host, Sana, signing off.